Welcome and welcome back. If this is your first time, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. You don't know how much I get tongue tied with that simple introduction. Okay, so if this is your first time, all of my dishes are easy and delicious to make. I use everyday ingredients and very simple. And today I'm coming to you with a delicious treat. For those of you who've been with me for a while, I thank you. Please continue to watch. To all of my new subscribers, I thank you very much. My old subscribers that have been hanging with me forever, I thank you. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Now, you know how I do. I don't like to keep you waiting. So let's get started. So today I'm coming in with, I know what you're thinking, rice flour. Yeah, I am. I usually use all-purpose. No, not all-purpose. I usually use self-rising. But today I am using rice flour. And I tell you why. This dessert that I'm making is actually based on a Filipino dessert. And please forgive me because I know I'm going to pronounce this wrong. But I believe it's called Bibingka. And I could be completely wrong, but that's how I'm pronouncing it. And I'm going to come in with about 2 cups. Now, one of the great things about using rice flour that you don't have to worry about, like when I use all-purpose or self-rising, is gluten. This is actually gluten-free. So to those of you, for those of you who have problems with gluten, this is fine. So you can use this. Now, I did mess up, but I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep going. And I'll tell you why I messed up, but that's something else. Okay, so now we're in with the rice flour. Now, I have white sugar. And I have about, and this, you hear me open it up, I have about a half a cup. And I'm going to come in with a half a cup of white, did I say white flour? White sugar. What am I talking about? White sugar. And which is perfect for this dessert, but you use the sugar that you like or the sweetener you like. And I have dark brown sugar. And I'm also going to come in with about a half a cup of dark brown sugar, making it 1 cup. Now, here's the thing. If I make a dessert and it's a little too sweet for your liking, guess what? You don't have to put that much sugar in. I had to use my hands because, as you know, brown sugar seems to lump together. I don't know why, but it loves to lump together. Now, I'm also going to come in with pineapples. Yeah, even in the Filipino, which makes sense that, they will have pineapples. I mean, it's an island, so they can have any fruit they want. Now, if you're questioning whether or not this is fresh pineapples, no, it's not. I am using canned pineapple. And I find that if I use canned pineapple, to me, it tastes a little bit sweeter. And why am I using this brand? Because it's on sale. And that was about, I would say, 5 ounces. But as always, all the ingredients and measurements will be in the description box. So don't even worry about that. So now we're in with that. Now I'm going to come in with coconut milk. And I'm using this brand. You may say, why are you using this brand? Again, it was on sale. If you have a coconut milk or a brand that you like, that it tends to work much better, then hey, go with that brand or go what's on sale. But let me tell you, I find that the one that's in the can, I'm shaking it up. I'm finding that the coconut milk that's in the can, to me, when I'm cooking, it seems to be a little bit more, let me shake it up a little bit more because that's coming out watery. So I want to shake it up. And that's my point. The one in the carton seems to be a lot more watery than the one in the can. And if you're just drinking coconut milk out of the carton, that's fine. But if you're cooking, you want it to be a little bit thicker, like that. And I find the one in the can is a little bit thicker. So now this is a 13-ounce can. I'm going to come in with about 8 ounces to start. And then we'll see if I need more. Hopefully I won't. But if I do, I have it on hand. Yeah, so like I was saying, if you get the coconut milk that's in the can, it's a little bit thicker than the one that's in the carton. And that's tend to be a little bit better when it comes to baking because you want it to be thick. It just make your cake or whatever you're making taste even better. And as always, you'll know me coming in with the vanilla. Now I am using vanilla extract. If you have vanilla flavoring or vanilla essence, go ahead and use that. And I'm coming in with about 3 capfuls, which is probably 1 tablespoon. But you know me, I'm going to come in with 1 more because if you've been with me a while, you know we love vanilla in this house. Vanilla is our best friend. Now I'm going to come in with 3 medium eggs. Nothing special there. I'm just using it as a binder. And I'm going to crack it and put it in this bowl. So that's what you're going to hear me doing off camera. And if you say, why are you putting it in a bowl separate? Well, here's why. You ever crack an egg into the dish that you're making and a piece of shell falls in? And now you're doing everything you can to try to fish it out, or you have to just throw away the whole thing? Yeah. So if you crack it in the bowl and there's a problem, you just throw that egg out and not what you was making. I know that's simple, but, I just wanted to explain that. Because I know some people just crack it right into whatever they're making, and that's great. But I have this horrible, I don't know. With me, I always seem to get the shell into it just when I'm cracking it into it. So now that's 3 eggs. No, that's 2. I'm coming back with the last one. Yeah, so the weather seems to be playing tricks on me. As you can tell, I'm getting over a cold. I don't know, one day warm, one day hot. I don't know where you're watching me from, but please let me know in the comments. How is the weather treating you where you are? Now, here's the trick about, or something to remember actually, about rice flour. Remember I said it was gluten-free? So it's not going to rise. So you have to add something to level it to make it rise, and I'm using baking powder. So I'm going to come in with about, and I'm going to sprinkle it all over. And I probably should have did that first. I'm sure I should have. So I'm going to come in with a spoonful. I'm using a fork, so that's why I have to do it more than once. But there we go. Yeah, so it has nothing to make it rise because it's rice flour. It's unlike self-rising flour where everything's already included. So I guess rice flour is a little bit like all-purpose. You have to add something to it to make it rise. Okay, we did that. Now I'm going to come in with, I have about a stick of butter and a little bit of oil. When I say a little bit, about 2 ounces, not much. Now, I'm not stirring it yet, and you'll see why. Now, again, this is my version of this dessert. I don't know if this is authentic to the Filipino dessert, but I'm going to put cream cheese in. And you want your cream cheese to sit out overnight. And I'll tell you why as soon as I get this open. If you let the cream cheese set out overnight, especially if you're not using a stand mixer or a blender or a food processor, it's easier to put it into your dessert because it's soft. And that's exactly what you want. You wouldn't want this to be, like a brick. And if you're new to my channel, and I'm using half the pack, you can use more if you like. If you're new to my channel, I don't really use, not that I have anything against it, like stand mixers or Cuisinarts, but I used to watch channels that had every gadget. And when they would make their dessert, I would say, oh, I can't make that because I don't have that stand mixer, or I don't have that blender, whatever they were using. I didn't have it, just didn't have it. And I didn't think I was going to go out and buy it just to make that dessert or make that dish. And so I started saying to myself, I know I can make these dishes without any of that. I mean, our grandmothers, great-grandmothers, and mothers have been making dishes for, I don't know, years, maybe even centuries as a whole, without any stand mixer or any of those things. Again, I'm not against them. If you have them, hey, break them out. Use them. It's easy. A lot easier than doing it by hand, but I don't mind. I do not mind. Now, you see me pushing it up against the side of the bowl, and I'm just breaking up the cream cheese, just in case you're wondering what I'm doing. Now, if this was made with self-rising flour or with all-purpose flour, I would not do this. I would have broken up the cream cheese first. Remember when I said I think I made a mistake? Because I was thinking about this as it being self-rising flour. And with self-rising flour, I wouldn't want to do this because I would make the gluten tough. And that overwork it, and that makes for a tough cake. Now, the cream cheese doesn't have to be broken all the way up in the batter, but I'm giving it a little head start. And all of that you're seeing is not all cream cheese. Remember, we have the pineapples. Now, if you don't like the pineapples really big, because I know some people say, I don't really like to bite into pineapples, you can crush them. You can make it into a puree and put them in. Okay, so now that's all beaten up or mixed together, and that's simply what you want. You just want it to be completely mixed, and I'm just stirring to make sure, and it is. So now I'm going to move all of this to the side and get it into a baking dish. Please take a minute, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. You know, I always ask you to do that, and it costs absolutely nothing. If you're watching it, maybe, and you don't really like it, I always have to acknowledge that you may not like it, but maybe someone else might like it. So please, take a minute, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and share it. Okay. Okay, so now I have this dish. It's really a pan, right? So again, I want to make this as easy as possible. And I have some cooking spray. And I'm simply going to spray both the pan, this little tin, and because I don't want anything to stick. If you haven't been with me that long, you know, if this is your first time being with my channel, one of my fears are baking stuff and can't get it out. Now that's parchment paper. You probably say, well, if you're going to use parchment paper, then why are you spraying it? Well, here's why. I still have a fear, even though I'm using parchment paper, that it won't come out. So I'm going to spray the parchment paper. Well, why is that a fear? Because it has happened. And the worst thing is to bake a cake or anything, muffins, and you can't get it out of the dish. Oh, it's so horrible. Okay, so now I'm just going to simply pour. There we go. Now you could try to make this, no, you can make this dessert for your family. You can make it for yourself. It's perfect. You can change it up if you want. I think I've got a little bit too much in this pan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some out, but I'm going to get this into the oven at 300. Now, everyone's oven is different. You know, I can put mine in at 300 and it's done in 25 minutes. And you may put yours in at 300 and it take 30 minutes. But what I'm going to say is after 25 minutes, give it a check and see if it's completely done. All right, let's get this in the oven. Okay, before I put this in the oven, there's one thing I forgot to do. And I'm going to sprinkle the top with a little bit of brown sugar. Now, I believe this is authentic, the way it's done in the Philippines or the way the Philippines will make it. But I also found out that sometimes they sprinkle it with cheese. I'm not exactly sure about that, but let me know in the comments. So this is me attempting to sprinkle this cake with brown sugar. Now, I don't know, it is clumped together because of the moisture. So you see if I'm trying to break it up with my fingers. And that's not happening. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to sprinkle it like this. There we go. But there's a will, there's a way, right? And it's still getting on the top of the cake. And it's still going to be delicious. That's what I'm calling it. It's actually Bibingka. And I'm so sorry if you're Filipino or Filipino descent. I know I am saying it completely wrong. Okay, so now I'm going to get this in the oven. Okay, so there we have it. This is a delicious cake. I took a little bit off the sides and gave it a little taste. Now, I know I'm going to pronounce it wrong, and again, I apologize. Either is Bibingka. I'm not exactly sure. I know it's Filipino, and this is my version of that cake, Bibingka, which is a flour rice cake. So please take a minute, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It really helps the channel, and leave a comment. I know I pronounced it wrong. Now, there's many versions to this cake. So if you know another way of making it, hey, share that with me and let me know. Maybe I can try to make it the way you used to having it. But this is my version of Bibingka, and it's gluten-free or gluten-friendly. So please give it a try. Until next time, enjoy.